Alrighty. We are going to be back testing November the 14th, 2022. We'll be doing all the entire week up until Friday. So first, let's check out the news for Monday. We can see here at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we have Orange News, FOMC, Bernard speaks. So now let's go over to our charts here. Now, next, we need to identify our areas of liquidity. So first, let's start off with the daily previous daily highs and previous daily lows. So mark them up here. Okay. So we can see here that we also have a gap left behind as well. Now, so far what we're looking for here on ES is we are looking to take out that previous day high, simply because we are just closer towards that area there. So what could happen here is the market may continue to have this sideways action, perhaps sweep the previous session low, have a market structure shift, and then we can just trade towards the previous day high. However, another scenario that could occur as well is we will continue downwards, come back to this previous session low as like a premium array, have a break of structure, we'll take an entry, and then trade towards the previous day low. Now, the previous day low here is highly unlikely, so we are really looking for a buy here. But these are just the scenarios that could play out. So now we also want to see what's going on NASDAQ here. As with our trading models here, we are only going to be taking trades that have biases aligned. So let's see. We want this previous day low. Okay, so pretty much the same bias here. I'm looking to take out that previous day high. So now let's go down to the 10-minute time frame. Or something that we should be doing as well is marking up the news. So 11:30 is when the news is. So we want to mark up at least 15 minutes beforehand. So let's do 11:12. That's the time the news is at. So pretty much 15 minutes before the news and at least 10 to 15 minutes after the news, we're not taking any entries. So in between these orange lines here, we're not going to be looking for any entries. If we're in a trade beforehand, that's okay, at least in this case, but those are the rules. So let's identify our session highs and lows. So right now we are looking for EM1 V1 or EM1 V2 towards the daily low. Now it is also possible that we could be getting an entry that's like this, return to that discount, and then go towards previous day high. But honestly, this range is kind of small, so the likelihood of that happening is also very low. Okay, we marked up our lows. And then let's quickly do the same on NASDAQ as well. Alrighty. Okay, now that we have these drawn up here successfully, we now want to go to the 10-minute time frame to identify any swing highs and lows for us to be looking for a 10-minute market structure shift. So we can see here that we did sweep the Tokyo low. However, yes, we could say that this is a 10-minute market structure shift here. I'm not really liking the way this range looks. So I would either want to break another low, or we just continue upwards and then we see what happens. So this is going to be the next 10-minute swing that I'd be looking for a break of structure. And then for a market structure shift, it's going to be this swing low, just for now. Yeah, it's very choppy. Okay, there we go, perfect. Okay, so we swapped another previous session low here. So now we can look for a 10-minute bullish market structure shift, which is going all, but the problem is these are equal highs, so I don't really like that. We'll look for it at this point right here. Okay, so once we identify our 10-minute swing highs and lows, we're actually looking for the break to occur on the 5-minute time frame. So let's just go back here to where the break happened. We take out our Fibonacci tool. We go from the wick low to the wick high of the candle that broke structure, which is right here. And we can see that the candle body did indeed close above the 2 red lines. So for that reason, this is a valid bullish market structure shift. And we could essentially look for an entry right here, but this order block is just so, it's just that is massive. Wow, that's yeah, that's not something I'd be looking to take personally, because with ES, if the stop loss is above 50 ticks, we'd only be looking for 2R, and the fact that 2R is just this much outwards is just absolutely insane. But let's see. Yeah, so that's exactly why I did not take this entry personally. It's just, you know, once that order block really gets to that size, and then we're right before news and everything as well, it's really just something that's just not likely to be a great entry. So I am not journaling that entry because that was not valid. It exceeded the stop loss parameters that we have, so that was not a valid entry for us. So if we continue on here, we still haven't taken out any daily liquidity, so we still want to be on the lookout for that, right? So here is our next break of structure, and then for a MSS, it's going to be this low all the way down here, because right now it's still technically bullish. Okay. Okay. So this would have been the break of structure. It had a reaction off of the session low. So I guess if you had the opportunity, you could take this order block right here for a EM2. EM2. Oh, it's the same size of order block. Damn. Okay, well, either way, that's just damn, that sucks. Okay, I wouldn't have taken either of these. So, really, really shit price action, but it is what it is. So, I wouldn't have taken any of those buys. The previous day high just got swept. So, in this case, I'd either be looking for a EM3 or EM2. So if we're looking for a reversal entry, this would be our 10-minute. Actually, no, that would not be the 10-minute. The 10-minute. Oh, the 10-minute actually would have been all the way up here. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is the 10-minute market structure shift, even though it's just really small, if we go here to the 5-minute time frame, we can see here that there was a break of structure, very small. There has to be at least a gap, there has to be a gap here in order for that to be a valid break of structure. And then we can see on the 10-minute that we do have a gap there. So if we go on the 5-minute time frame, we identify the swing low that's required for a market structure shift. Let me just put this here for visualization. Okay, so let's take out our Fibonacci tool. Okay, we can see that the first candle that broke structure did not meet the criteria of the Fibonacci strength tool. As we can see, the candle body would need to close below both red lines. So in this case, we'd be looking for a continuation break, which has to occur in the next 3 candles on the max. So let's see, that candle, the candle body did not close below, so this is not a valid market structure shift yet. So here we can see that the candle body did indeed close below those 2 red lines. So now we can be looking for a short entry using this order block right here. So you would place your sell limit right there. We can see that the stop loss is not above 50 ticks. So we can take this for 3R. Now I am trying to develop some new rules essentially that says if the stop loss is below 30, we can actually look for 4R rather than 3R. But for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to keep it at 3R, which has been working, and it's with 2 years of data. So we can see there that it would have been a very fast win. So that would have been very nice for us. So that would have been a nice 3R EM2 reversal entry right there. Let's just quickly take this, put it in our journal. So it's really just all about patience in this case, right? Because, you know, yes, I could have taken those buys earlier, and yeah, we could have closed like 2R and then another 3R, so it would have been 5R just on ES alone. But just the probability is just not there, so it's not worth it. Okay, that looks good. All right, so that would have concluded the trading day for ES. So now let's take a look here on NASDAQ and see what happened. So we're looking for a buy towards the previous day high. I'm kind of liking the way that this is looking because there's just so much wiggle room to get up to the previous day high. I'm just a little bit concerned about the news that we have here, since we saw that before the news happened, like it had some pretty strong reactions. Okay, we're not trading in between this news area here. Okay, now let's draw up our 10 minutes stuff. Okay, swing low. Technically, like, you could say that's a swing low there, but I just not a fan of that, honestly. Like, if it's in this bullish scenario, I want a swing low to be represented with a bearish candle, and in this case it'd be bullish. So for me, that's just not something I'd be looking for. And then this would just be another break of structure by the way it's looking so far. So let's go on the 5-minute time frame. Remember, we're looking for a session low to be swept before we can look for another buy. Okay. Okay, so now we just gotta keep on waiting. Where would be our bullish market structure shift? Well, it would be right here. So let's see what happens on the 5-minute. Okay, so we can see here that we had our 10-minute market structure shift for bullish. Now, EM1 V1 sweep a previous session low, which we can see occurred right here. We swept the previous session low liquidity. So for those of you that may not know, it's just really sell side liquidity. If we take out our Fibonacci tool on the candle that actually broke structure, we can see that it is following the parameters. It's the candle body closed above both red lines, so this is a valid 10-minute market structure shift. These are not double highs, so this is great. Now we'd be looking for our 5-minute order block, which we can see is right there. Oh yeah, that is massive. We can't take that. Sometimes we could also look for an entry just off of that candle body there, which can be helpful for us. The reason why I didn't do that on ES is the thing is with ES, it moves a little bit slower, so I'm more confident, at least on NASDAQ, that it'll tag my entry there. Because me personally, if the odds are that my entry is not going to be tagged, I'd rather just not take the entry personally. So because the stop loss is above 100 ticks and below 200 ticks, this is a valid entry. We just need to adjust our risk to reward to 2R rather than the 3. Okay. So very, very messy entry, honestly. But we can still see it was valid. We had a very nice buy model there for our EM1 V1. So that would be 2R for so far in the AM session for NASDAQ. So let's jot that down here. EM1 V1. And I will be doing a video covering all of the entry models that I have created, and then just to provide that knowledge out there for anybody that's actually willing to learn and put in the work, because that's just really what I'm trying to do here. So there's a nice 2R. So far in the day, we would have 5R in the bag, which is excellent. So let's, or actually I need to check one thing. Okay, because I'm going to be testing out these 4R models, I need to make sure that I am making note of what happens after the 3R profit is taken. So let's see, that would have been the 4R. Okay, it would have worked out nicely. Sorry, I know I'm going a little off track of the back testing, but like once I figure out a couple of things that I have on my mind here, we could even be starting to have 4R take profits rather than just a standard 3. So now kind of similar thing. We're looking for either a EM2 sell or a EM3 continuation following the trend, which would be bullish. So let's see what happens here. Actually, we need to make note of our swing lows and swing highs. I'm not really liking any of these. I mean, technically this is valid. It's just not something I'd ideally draw up. But if I can see on the 5-minute time frame that this swing low is with a bearish candle, then I'd be more inclined to take it. Let's just put this off to the side for now. Okay, kind of similar story to ES. We had another break of structure right there. Break of structure is at least a gap of 1 there. So our new 10-minute MSS would be at the swing low of that range. Now let's go over to the 5-minute, because we are monitoring this stuff on the 5-minute time frame. So we can see here there's a nice little gap there. So this is not even like an equal low. So now what we want to do, just go back a little bit. Now that we identified that market structure area, we're just going to be looking for a strong candle break. Okay, so let's take out our Fibonacci tool on the candle that broke structure. And we can see here that the candle body did not close below these 2 red lines. So this is not a valid market structure shift. And once again, the reason why I developed it this way is because it helps us identify like real strong reversals in the market rather than just getting faked out and whatnot. And I prefer this stuff as well, because if you see like a lot of tutors online and whatnot that teach like SMC or ICT concepts, They'll say that, hey, we want the candle body to close below this area, but honestly, I think it's a little bit foolish, really. Like if the candle body is exceeding like 60% of its own little range that it has there, it should be a strong market structure shift. So now we're looking for a continuation here. We want the next 3 candles to close below the 2 red lines. If the next 3 do not close, we're not taking any entries. Okay, so there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. So unfortunately, it just did not meet that criteria that we are looking for there, so I would just not be looking for an entry anymore. However, obviously, you know, we know on NASDAQ that the trade did work out. Sometimes it wouldn't work out that way on we know it worked on ES, but it might not work on NASDAQ. But just for educational purposes, this is not at all an entry I would have taken just because it's not following the parameters that I set. But let's see what happens if we took the entry. Okay, it actually would have been a really nice tag there. So really the reason why I have this rule here is just to be safe, right? Because something that I always say, if we have a $4 million funded account, you know, our 5% take profit's going to be $200,000. Why am I even going to consider to risk like what the risk would be anywhere from $50,000 to $60,000? Why would I risk? Why would I want to risk that amount of money, right? So although this would have been a nice win for us there, it just did not follow my parameters, and I could care less, to be honest with you. So I'll just journal this there, but not as a win, just as a note. So that'd be NASDAQ closed are invalid. Okay, so that'll conclude that trading day. Obviously, we've taken a while to go through this day, but we can see it was well worth it. We would have closed positive with 5R for the day. So now let's delete all of our drawings here and then go over back to the 12-minute time frame. Let's let it go through everything. So let's take a quick look at the news for Tuesday. So at 8:30 we got PPI, and then we have FOMC Cook at 9, and at 10 FOMC Bar. So let's take note of that stuff. Let this play out. Okay, so let's draw out our previous day highs and lows. 636. Okay, so it looks like we would have swept the previous day high before I start trading, which is at 8 a.m. Eastern. So now for NASDAQ so far, I'd be looking for either a EM3 for a continuation, or I would be looking for a EM2 reversal. Previous session low. And let's do the same for ES. Very different, actually. Wow. Okay, so we know that we swept that on NASDAQ, but I guess the previous day high was not swept on ES. So I would ideally be looking for, I'm still going to be looking for a buy on ES, but on NASDAQ, until that previous day high on ES is swept, I'm not going to be looking for any reversals just for EM3. But the moment that previous day high is swept on ES, then we'll see exactly how everything's going. Okay. Then we want to mark up our session liquidity. This is so important. Okay, we can't forget to jot up our news. So let me just take a look again. 8:30. So, okay, if the news is at 8:30, then I'm not going to be looking for an entry till 8:45, which is a little unfortunate because, well, you know what? I guess there's a potential chance that the entry will happen between 8 and 8:12, but you know, pretty unlikely. Okay, and then FOMC Cook and FOMC Bar, and then we have G20 meetings. Okay, you know what? This might actually be a kind of a risky day, but we will just take note of just the PPI for now and then see what happens. So let's go on a 10-minute time frame here. We have a discount session right here, so I'm looking for a reaction and then a break of structure, and then we can take our entry. Or what can also happen as well is we will just take out this previous session low, have a 10-minute market structure shift, take the order block and take the buy. And that's what I'd be looking for now. I'm only looking for buys. I'm not even going to consider this previous day low just because we already swept the previous day high on NASDAQ. So I'm not looking for any sells as of now. Okay, we're now in the PPI area. Oh shit. Okay, so I guess it just needed to get fueled by PPI. So now that that was swept, we can potentially look for a continuation or sell confidently. So let's see what happens. Well, first of all, this is the swing low we need for a reversal, but that's ridiculous. So it's probably, this is going to get swept first, most likely. Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay, this is clearly not looking like a good day at all. I mean, even if we waited for that area to get swept, there's just no opportunity at all for an entry. And the only times I've ever seen the previous day high and the previous day low get swept on the same day is the infamous CPI and then elections. But for that to happen on a day like this, maybe perhaps I should reconsider trading the G20 meeting. So that's something I'm gonna note down. Okay. Okay, so that essentially means we didn't have any entries on ES. So let's take a look at NASDAQ to see if it was any better, because it could be. Let's just note up the news really quick here. So 8:12, and then we want that buffer again. So 8:48. So we'll leave it. Go to the 10-minute time frame. See what happens. Okay, pretty much the same thing, just a little bit more action. Okay, we can delete these two lines now. 10-minute swing low. This is all just internal range, by the way, so I could care less about it. So we have our market structure shift there. If we're going to 5-minute time frame, yeah, it's kind of looking like it's going to be the same story. Oh, actually, this is even worse. It did nothing. Okay, so no entries for Tuesday. Let's take a look at Wednesday. Okay, let's check out the news. So Wednesday, core retail 8:30. All this stuff that doesn't really matter. FOMC member Williams, business, and then G20 meetings again. Okay, there's lots of news on this day, so I'm definitely going to be careful for sure. So based on what I'm looking, I'm ideally looking to have a entry in the AM session, probably not the PM session, as I see FOMC member Waller speaks, and I know sometimes Waller can move the market, so we'll just keep that in mind. So let's mark up our news. It's at 8:30, so we want a 15-minute buffer, and then another 15-minute afterwards. And then there's one more here I wanted to note. Okay, we'll note the crude oil because sometimes that can affect it as well. Oops, that's the wrong tool. Okay. Next, where is our daily liquidity? We have previous day high here. And then our previous day low there. Perfect. Now our session liquidity. And then our session lows. So yeah, this is kind of building up for a sell so far. So let's see how everything plays out. Now, the nice thing with my models is that it does take into consideration if my initial bias was wrong, which is excellent, really, because, you know, I don't try to predict the market. I react with the market. It's just based on everything I'm seeing, right? And honestly, I think that's how we really should be looking at trading anyways. Excellent. Okay, so I'm looking for a sell so far. Let's just triple check that with our fib here. So yeah, the market looks like it's been levitating towards the previous day low. Okay, so let's go to our 10-minute time frame here. We want to see this previous session high up here swept first before I take a sell. That's just me personally. Where's our other session though? Oof, I need to be writing that down as well. Because it's possible that we could also have a V2 EM1. So that's something to keep in mind. So pretty much this is a very tight range though, so I'm not confident. And these are like equal highs as well. So the EM1 V1 looks more likely to occur in this scenario. Okay, you know what? That actually played out well. Played out well for a V2. The only problem I have here is that this is the area required for a 10-minute break of structure for our V2 sell. However, it's all occurring between the news that we marked up here. So I'm not going to be taking any entries during that time. So it looks like we would have had our break of structure right there. But the reason why we don't trade the news, because, well, like, look at this shit, you know? Like, it didn't close below the two red lines. It only did that till 1, 2, 3, like way too many candles. So this would not have been at all a valid entry. It's just like a lot of news this day as well. So the only way I'd be looking for another entry is if we break a session high, which is all the way up here. But as of now, like I'm really not looking for anything. even though even though we can see here that if I continued this like initial outlook and then waited for the continuations, I could have entered off of this massive order block and it looks like it would have been in profit. It's just not something at all I'd be even considering. There was also FOMC Waller at 235. I forgot to mark that down. So we want to have this set for, yeah, 215 to 245. Perfect. Go to the 10-minute here. Yeah, okay. I guess it didn't even end up sweeping the previous day low at all, so it was just a really slow day overall on ES. So let's quickly do this on NASDAQ here, just because I don't want to run through too much time. However, I really don't regret ever going in depth with this sort of stuff, because we're already super positive in the week, and I think it's useful to do these in-depth backtesting sessions. Because like we're literally going through every single aspect as if it was real time, which I think is super important. Okay, let's just change our labels here. Awesome. Okay. Mark up our news. There's two sets I'm looking at least 15 minutes before. Okay, there's no. We'll leave it there for now. A 40 and then the one at 10:30. So. And then Waller. Okay. See what happens. Okay, so quickly here. Okay, just to quickly show you exactly what I'm looking at here. This is the low we would have needed to break for a type of market structure shift at first, right? However, I didn't even start trading there yet. So we want to look for a reaction off of the session low. Okay, this is the session low. I don't know why this indicator is showing up so early right now. It's not supposed to be like that. Hold on. Sometimes this indicator just breaks and it's really a pain in the ass. Bruh. Okay, whatever. It's dog shit, I guess, but okay, so this is our session low that we have to break. Oh my god, this is just way too much. Okay, so we broke the session low. Essentially, we need a break of structure now to be looking for a sell, which would be right here, this low. Okay. Remember, we want to be looking at this on the 5-minute time frame. I apologize. I keep forgetting to do that. I only do that on back testing because I'm generally like almost always on the 5-minute time frame. I just quickly skim the 10-minute and then I identify all my swing points for a market structure shift. This is a really nice liquidity grab here. This is excellent. Now we can see what broke structure. This candle here, it is matching the fib strength tool, so that is a valid market structure. Break of structure because this is technically a EM1 V2. And then let's see the size of this stop loss. So it's Okay, well, actually, it's meeting our parameters for a 2R at least. So we can take this for a 2R profit target, which is almost exactly aligned with our previous day low target. That's insane. Okay. Well, it didn't even tag our entry, which is, happens. So let's jot this down. This is going to be noted as a no entry. Stop loss 194, and the day is Wednesday. Okay, so this is counted as an op as in an opportunity. So now once we sweep the previous day low, we are looking for either a EM3 continuation or a EM2 reversal. So ideally, I'd probably be looking for a EM3 at first, honestly. So, okay, there's another break there. This appears to be a swing high. Let's just confirm if on the 5-minute time frame that this swing here is a bullish candle, not a bearish. It's not. Okay, so I would not be looking for that. It's likely just going to keep on dropping. Okay, nice. Okay, we went by this news here, so let's just delete these because they're really annoying. Why is this our market structure shifts point? Because we had another break of structure, so this is the next swing high for us to look at. Okay. Oh, I keep forgetting. I'm so sorry. I keep forgetting. Like, I should be on the 5-minute time frame looking at this stuff. Okay, so we can see here that we did tag our 10-minute swing high, but I mean, I barely even need to draw this up for you. But yeah, that candle body did not close above our two lines here, so we want to wait for the next 3 candles to see if it breaks it. The answer is no, so this is likely just going to be a reversal. Let's go back to the 10-minute. I'd be looking for this low. If this low here gets broken, we can look for our EM3 sell. Just because this previous day low can be used as a premium array as well. Okay, so it does look like it would have just continued upwards, but it's just risky for us. Trust me, it is. Like, I do this a lot. So let's see what happens. Okay, we actually had a break of structure right here. Or this being a MSS. Now, for the EM3 models, I am looking for a 10-minute break of structure. The whole point is to be like a continuation of like the daily trend, but in this case, we're having a 10-minute market structure shift. I want it to be a break of structure, not a MSS, so I wouldn't be taking a sell here. And there's also news as well, so that's exactly why I wouldn't have taken it. So there you go. That is everything for Wednesday. Let's move on to Thursday here. We don't want to cut too much time here in this video. Ooh, this is nice. Okay. So let's take a look at our news for Thursday. Right, Thursday's the day. Yeah, okay. Thursday. FOMC member Bullard at 8. We got Philly Fed at 8:30. Unemployment as well. Okay, so for me, there's no point. I'm not gonna be trading till 8:45. Well, I'm still gonna be on the charts. At least take tape reading, but I'm not gonna be looking for any entries till 8:40, 8:45. So let's see what news we have as well. We got FOMC Master, and then FOMC. Okay. Okay, if FOMC master speaks at 9:40, damn, there's really not a lot of time to trade on this day then. So 9:24 to 10 for that guy. And then we have FOMC Jefferson. Okay, I'm gonna leave the Jefferson guy out of it. All right, let's identify our previous day low. We can see here that the previous day low was indeed swept. So what does that mean? It means we're looking for our EM3 continuation to that trend, or we can look for our EM2 reversal. Okay, now let's draw out our premium arrays, which are still valid. This is not going to be a premium array here because the premium array needs to be like, you know, in this case, it needs to be above the previous day low because then it's not a premium. Like that's pretty stupid to even think that way. But yeah, this is how it is. So here's another session high, and then another session high. Yeah, reversal's looking a lot better in this case, but who knows? Like, it could differ. Let's take a look here on NASDAQ to see if it's the same. Yeah, kind of looking like it is. Okay. Previous day low swept. That means we're looking for an EM3 continuation or EM2 reversal. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Start off with ES. Let's see what happens. You know what? I completely apologize. I should be marking up our 10-minute as well. Okay, this is... Damn, this is really not the best, eh? Okay, this low looks like it wants to be swept. It's a relative equal low. Our 10-minute MSS. Sorry, I know I really shouldn't be going like that fast in the future. I just keep forgetting to pause here. Because for the EM2 buy here, we need to identify a swing high. We can see we have a small gap here. You know what? I just need to see if on the 5-minute that this is a bullish candle, but it's not. So this would be the swing high. I need to sweep for a market structure shift. Okay. I don't need a fib tool for you to see that that it's strong. It's clearly strong. And then if we're looking for a order block, this is really the best that it gets, but I want something a little bit better than that. So this is looking pretty nice. Okay. It's over 50 ticks, so the max SL is going to be 2R. I just want to take another look at the news here as well. 10:30, so 9:40, or it's actually 12 already in this scenario, so there's no more news for the day. So I am comfortable with this entry. Now, one thing to bear in mind as well is the second that there is a 10-minute breakup structure which occurs right here, we need to be deleting the order limits immediately. Just because, you know, really if we have a breakup structure, that means if we break the low before our entry, like pretty much like asking, like that's a reversal, right? So we'll mark this up as a no entry for ES Thursday the 17th. That is a EM2 ES, and then the stop loss was 59, which makes sense. Okay, so that pretty much would wrap up the trading day for ES, since the EM2 move already occurred. So let's take a look here on NASDAQ. Let's just chart up our news again. We don't want to be trading till, I think I said, yeah, I don't want to be trading till 8:45. So I'll just mark up 8:40 there, and then the other news is at 9:40. So 9:30 and then 2:10. We'll just say that, whatever. Okay. We swept the low. So what is the area we need to sweep for a market structure shift? It's looking like it's going to be this area right here for a EM2 buy. Now we got to keep in mind what time 8 is, because I wouldn't even be on the charts until then. Or actually, you know what? I'm not trading till 8:45. That's right. Okay, so we reached the area. I would have just been tape reading at this point in time. So let's identify the next 10-minute swing structure here. It's looking like it would be this, but once again, I need to ensure that on the 5 minutes a bullish candle, it's not. So let's look for our next point, which would be this candle all the way up here. But the likelihood of there not being another break of structure is pretty low. So, okay, it happened there. Let's see if on the 5 minute that's looking good. It's not. So I guess we're still waiting for a nice swing high to form. This is really rough. This is still technically the point up here as of now until we have another break of structure. Get rid of these news lines. We don't need them anymore. Okay, yeah, I guess that would have been the break of structure there. The problem is now, well, this is the high we need to be weary of. Go on the 5 minute time frame to identify an extreme order block. I'm liking the way this is looking. Take a look here at what we be looking at. The entry is above 100 ticks, so we're only going to be taking 2R, which I'm very comfortable with because our premium array is just above our take profit. But bear in mind, this black line here is a 10-minute break of structure. So if this is not entered before that break of structure, we are not taking this entry. And it broke it. So there we go. It just would have been another no entry there. So let's write that up. So EM2, NASDAQ, the stop loss size was 184. And then no entry. Because the previous session low is there, we could potentially look for, actually, you know what, never mind, forget what I said. There would have been no entries for the day. I was originally going to say we could look for EM3, but the whole point of EM3 is like the second we sweep daily liquidity, that's when we can look for EM3. But in this case, that just is not the case. So let's take a look at Friday. Existing home sales, 10 a.m. Let's remove all our drawings here. We can wrap up this backtesting session. So let's go to Friday. Fridays, I only trade the AM session, by the way. That's just my own personal preference. I could care less about the PM session. So that is just something to note. 10 a.m. Okay. Let's mark up news price first. News is at 10, so we don't want to trade 15 minutes before, and then 15 minutes after. 12 minutes is okay too. At least a 10-minute buffer, like that's the goal here, like minimum 10 minutes. But sometimes I've even seen, depending on the impact of the news, even like half an hour before sometimes. Mark up our daily liquidity. Here's our previous day high. We can see we are looking for a buy so far since we're in that area, but it's already so close by. It's likely going to get swept before we even get online because we can see 8 a.m. is right here. And then pretty much the same thing is happening on ES. So that means the bias is aligned. That means I can look for entries confidently. Perfect. Clone that. Oh yeah, that's very, very clean. Very crucial that we want to mark up these discount arrays here because it's kind of looking like we might have a EM3. And mark up the news here as well. Just good practice to have. Awesome. Let's go on a 10-minute time frame here. We don't start trading till there. So let's move up a little bit. Nice. Okay, so we can see that we swept the previous day high. So what we want to happen here, if we look for EM3, is the market can go up a little bit, return to this discount session, and then have a break of structure that we can buy again. Or the market could simply just keep going up. We wait for that 10-minute break of structure, take a 5-minute order block entry, and then trade towards the previous session low, which is all the way down here. There's definitely another one though, or maybe not. Okay. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, it's looking like this is a reversal entry here. So 10-minute break of structure. Made some swing highs. We gotta ensure first that this is a bearish candle. It's not. So the 10-minute break of structure would have been here. Want to identify that break of structure using the 5-minute time frame. Let's see. Let's use our Fibonacci tool. Is it following the Fibonacci strength tool? Yes, very well actually. So we would be looking for our entry here. Bear in mind we have this news gap here, so we can't take this entry until here. So if it enters before, it's invalid. Like I'm not placing anything until then. Now we can see here that the stop loss would be 28 ticks, so we can technically look for a 4R in this entry, but until I have that confirmed, once I make some further observations in the back end, we're going to keep our models at 3R. Okay, we still haven't established a 10-minute low yet, so this is still a valid entry. We just established a 10-minute low. Unfortunately, that means that this is another no entry as well. So Friday, November the 18th. EM2, the pair was ES, and then 28 is the ticks. Okay, so that'll wrap up ES. Now let's take a look at NASDAQ here, see what happens. Or, you know, I still haven't marked the session liquidity. Okay, now let's go to the 10-minute time frame. See what happens. Previous day high is swept. So we came back down to our session high, so we want to see a break of structure or a 10-minute MSS for our EM2. Okay, we had our, okay, hold on. Okay, we had our reaction off of the session high. So we'll draw up our break of structure, which we want to identify using the 5-minute time frame. We can see, let's just mark it up here, break of structure. Using the fib strength tool, we can see that the candle is not breaking above the red line. So now we want to count 3 candles. 1, 2, it closed above. Therefore, we can look for an entry here. However, the only problem I have with this entry is just we've been bullish ever since 3 a.m. So for that reason, I wouldn't be at all interested in an EM3. So I'd be looking for a EM2 sell. But first, we need to identify our 10-minute swing low. Okay, it's not valid as we need it to be a bearish candle. So this is looking like the area we'd look for a 10-minute bearish MSS as of now. Okay. Go to the 5-minute time frame. We can see our order block is like pretty far up here in the premium, so it's pretty unlikely that we will tag that entry, but let's see what happens. And we haven't established our 10-minute yet, and we even swept at our target. So that will conclude this video here. If we just quickly mark up the total R for the week, we got 3, we got 5, we got a whole bunch of no entries, which happens sometimes, but you can see here that the models do provide. It's just a matter of the market really. But overall, 5R for the week, November the 14th to the 18th. So that'll be it for the video.